Welcome to the Biz Gone Social podcast. We help entrepreneurs navigate how to get known, get customers, and get the edge over their competition. Here is your host, Lorraine Duncan.
So here we are on the Biz Gone Social podcast, and I'm so glad to be here. My promise to you, as always, is I want to give you a little bit of verbal caffeine that's going to energize your business and help you stay social. Because after all, don't you want to be the business that everyone's talking about? I know I do. And welcome, Cash Miller. Welcome to the show.
Hey, it's great to be here, Lorraine. Thank you for having me.
Tell me a little bit about what you do and who you serve.
I run a digital marketing agency called Titan Digital. I'm the CEO. We've got a staff of about 30 people, and we serve small, medium-sized businesses across the United States. We work with a lot of insurance companies, hardware stores, a number of different types of clients. We have over 600 websites we manage, plus a number of the clients that do, paid advertising online, SEO, email marketing, number of things. And we've been around since 2011. I personally got into the industry in 2007.
Okay. And where are you located? Where are you located out of?
I'm personally south of Nashville. So a place called Murfreesboro. We're about 30 minutes away. And then we've also got another office in Springfield, Missouri, one in a place called Carbondale, Colorado, and we've also got staff in Costa Rica.
Wow, you're everywhere. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about digital marketing. What exactly is, I hear digital marketing all the time. I'm a digital marketing agency, Biz Gone Social, but how does digital marketing really work for your company?
We're very focused on local businesses and such, so companies that can, they service, local clientele and whatnot. So we're going to be there's a, you say, your business is Biz Gone Social. We do social media stuff. That might be your primary focus. For us, it's a secondary thing. We have clients that want to do that kind of work and stuff, but a lot of our clients are really a better fit for local search, so Google Maps, being high ranked there. Also pay-per-click ads and such on Google. We run a lot of what's known as programmatic advertising. So those are ads that can hit you on your phone, tablet, computer. They'll be, based on interests that you might have, say shopping, things you're searching for. They're not showing up in the Google results. They're display ads that are showing on different websites you visit. Streaming ads, video ads that might be on Hulu if you're watching the ad-supported side, and also audio ads on, things like Spotify and Apple Play and such.
Yeah, and so when it comes to SEO, everybody always, a lot of people always call my husband, it's brick and mortar business. He's a plumbing contractor, and everybody go, I'm going to get you number one on Google. And there's he gets thousands of these calls a day, seriously. Yeah. And the thing is he's went with some of these companies and none of them got him to the top of Google. So is that a promise you make? And if it's not, why can't you make a promise like that?
I don't suggest any agency make that promise. My formula for that kind of stuff and determining is pretty simple. There's different factors on whether you can actually rank a company. Okay. If you're trying to rank on the top of Google Maps and organic, for one, if you came to me today and you said, hey, I want to be number one, and the first thing I'm going to ask is how long you've been in business and have you ever done it before? Because once I check where you're currently at in the rankings and such, you have a few influencing factors. So one, if you're a plumbing company, okay, or a lawyer or something that's high saturation, there's a lot of those kinds of companies around, and you're in a high metro area, so you've got a ton of population, well, you want to be number one. That's one company out of 100. You want to be that one company out of 100 or more. They all want to be that. And they all started years ago working on it. And there's somebody in that position that you want to bump off. That's hard to do. You're behind the eight ball. So I'm not going to make a guarantee that I can get you there because of the fact that I'm going against that company that's in that spot and everybody right behind that's competing for it too. And they are either probably larger as far as, the business size. So they might have internal staff doing it full time. They might have, a company that they've hired. But no matter what, I'm going head to head against somebody else, and they are, they have a head start. So how can I make, a guarantee? I don't think anybody making that kind of a guarantee is crazy. Yeah, because you don't know. If I made that a guarantee as a blanket thing, then I'm going to miss, more times than I hit. Now, you come to me and you're a land surveyor in a population of, with 10,000 people, sure, I'll get you there, no problem. I'll probably have you there in like 2 weeks, but you have, it's a more obscure business and a lower population, so you have those factors. It's always size of population automatically relates to amount of competition. The bigger a place is, the naturally you're going to have more companies doing what you do. So, and there's still only one slot to be first, and a bunch of them, I guarantee, have been working on that same slot for years and maybe traded places and stuff over time. And now you come along and you suddenly want it. Okay, sure, pay me $10,000 a month, so that I can put in hundreds of man hours, and I might be able to get you there.
Yeah, I remember, I don't know, years ago, I was doing a few things and I think for 3 minutes I was on top.
Yeah,
and it was like, this is too much work. I don't care if I'm on top anymore.
Yeah, that's the point. And that's what companies, when they hire, an expert in SEO or something, the SEO company that you're hiring, they could be great at it. Okay, but that competition is what they're going to have to face off with. And until you actually take a look at it, you don't know. So I'm not going to make a guarantee that I know is going to be crazy. And the thing is, it's 2023. Okay, I started doing this in 2011. In 2011, I might have been able to make that guarantee because not everybody was doing SEO. Now everybody and their mother's doing SEO.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I really appreciate your honesty because, like I said, I've talked to so many SEO companies and they all give you these promises, but I want to talk a little bit about like Google Maps and all that. How important is it to be on Google My Business?
Yeah, now it's like Google Business Profile. Yeah, they keep changing the name, but it's extremely important and more so than people realize. Okay, so the reason being is like the organic. Everybody for years thought about the organic listings, and I'm going to tell you right now, the organic listings from a local business perspective are basically worthless now. Okay, Google has made it worthless because before you ever get to an organic listing, for one, it's your desktop. Okay, because most people don't search. If I search for a lawyer locally, okay, if I'm on my desktop, I'm going to see 4 ads, 3 map listings before I see the first organic listing. So you're first in the organic, but you're 8th on the page. Okay. So, and then mixed in with those or other, you've got 10 organic listings, and now they're doing like an infinite scroll and stuff. In those listings, look at who's actually listed. The majority is Yelp, Angie's List, or Angie, Home Advisor, or some other directory, which is just clicking to look at another list. Okay, out of those 10 listings, you might see 3 to 4 companies. The rest are going to be a directory of some sort. So it's a waste of time. Nobody goes there anymore. They go to the map. Okay, so they go to the map. Now, how do they go to the map? It's something like, depending on the business you're in, 80+% of your traffic is now mobile. Okay. I search for companies on my desktop because of what I do. Like if I'm searching for a product and I'm basically using a larger screen to, scan more information faster. Okay? I need a SaaS product or something. I need, whatever it may be. If I want a lawyer locally, if I want a plumber, if I want anything that's emergency service, period, I need a fire restoration guy because, I just had water damage and got flooded, or I'm not even going to I'm going to use my phone, and I'm not even going to bother with Chrome. I'm going to use the Map app. Okay. Whenever we're looking for restaurants, what do? The Map app. You're on Google, if you're using that, you're using, so if you're using a Galaxy phone, a Samsung, whatever it is, you're going to use the map app. If you're on an iPhone, you still can have freaking Google Maps downloaded because not as many people like Apple Maps and stuff. So you're going to use that app. There's no organic listings on it. There's,
Yeah.
I've got maybe 2 map related ads on it. And that's where the majority of the traffic's coming from. So what's the point of going after the organic? The map is everything because once if you're going to get 80% of your traffic off the phone anyway, and the majority of those are going to click, 90% are just going to open up the app itself. You're not going to see the regular text ads. You're not going to see the freaking organic results. Map is everything if you're a local business.
Yeah. I mean, the other day I was in Stamford, a city over, and I'm not really familiar with it. And I had an hour before my next appointment and I didn't want to go all the way home. So I was looking for a coffee shop and it
Yep.
was no rhyme or reason. I mean, I didn't pick because it was advertised for. Basically, I just put in the Google Maps coffee shop and it gave me the closest one that was to me.
Yeah, and it'll tell you driving distance, walking distance, you name it.
Yeah. And it was
Yeah,
great because it was like, it took me like 2 seconds to walk there. I didn't even know it existed there. It was really, it's a
yeah,
place I never even knew existed.
yeah. I needed a few weeks ago. This is interesting because a few weeks ago, I was about to go on vacation, and our garage door opener, the automatic one, had stopped working properly. So I needed somebody to repair it. Now I actually have a garage door repair client here in the city that I'm in and stuff, and I could have called them, but the problem is it was a Saturday, and I knew they weren't open. And so I searched for another company because we were leaving the next day, and I was trying to get it fixed before we leave. So I wanted to see if anybody was going to be open on a Saturday to be able to come out. Well, Google, I went to the map app, okay, because I'm looking for a local company. Google actually prioritized the listings that were open on a Saturday. Because, like, I know my client, like, I saw that they weren't on top, and then it dawned on me. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's because they're not open today. Because normally they're always first, you know, and they weren't because it was Saturday. Well, they're not open. This other company was, and there was like one other. And so it was prioritizing based on it saying open 24 hours, to show them at the top of the rankings. So I mean, the map is, so valuable regardless where you are because it's geolocating you. It knows exactly where you are. There's no ambiguity. Whatever's nearby, whatever you need, whether it's a coffee shop, let's say garage doors, whatever it is, you're going to be able to find it. So people are now trained to use it that way.
Yeah. It's amazing. I remember we went somewhere, we went to a wedding this weekend and I had no idea where we were going. I'd never been to this area in Connecticut before. And literally, I'm like, we type it in, and it's like, I remember the days where I get the AAA trip ticket,
Yeah.
and be able to see that there's something to be able to see, like the vicinity you're going to be in the area. It's just like you're just counting that this is going to
Yeah.
get you there, and it did, which was good, but not knowing exactly because I never had been to Portsmouth before. It was like crazy. I had no
Well,
idea where we were going.
yeah, think about it. You can go on the app, and I've done speaking gigs places and stuff, and I'll go to cities I'm not necessarily familiar with, and I'm not there where I'm going to be like driving all over the place or anything. I might be looking for something in walking distance to the hotel, so I just pinpoint myself, zoom in on the map, and see what the hell what's nearby. Right? It's like, oh, there's a coffee shop here, there's a Thai joint there, whatever it might be, and then I could, because I'm not familiar now, I could, same thing. I could say, oh, I want Thai food, in which case it'll show me the closest Thai food restaurant. Like I said, the map has got ridiculous uses, and the other thing it's got going on, of course, is a zillion reviews now. Look at how many people have reviews on there, so I can make a judgment call of whether I want to, visit a place, call them, whatever, because I'm going to see the rating. But nowadays, God, you see 400, 500, 600 reviews. Your car dealer could be 2,000, that are all on Google Maps. So and I'm able to read how other people's experiences and such. So if you want anything local, restaurants, service providers, whatever, that's where you're going to go. And that's where most of the traffic's coming from.
Yeah. How important do you think, is being, visible online today? How important would you say that is?
It's 100% necessary. There's there's no two ways about it, because if you are not found online, you basically don't exist anymore. People don't use the phone book unless you're about 90 years old. So you can't find anything that way, because the advertisers have all abandoned them. Except for a few people that want to go after that really old crowd, because everybody else, all the other providers left. So you have to be online. I like to tell people when it comes to websites too, like a good website can make you look like you are so established and been around for so long, even though you've been in business for 6 months. And a really bad website can take, a company that's been around, decades and look, like they've been around 6 months. Yeah. So, the presence that you have is super important. And that goes with, social media profiles and being on LinkedIn and, Facebook or TikTok, if that's your area, depending on how you communicate with people. So if you decide that you want to communicate, I say, but you have the website's your hub.
What is interesting that you say that. The other day, I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but you know how franchises, when you buy a franchise, the franchise has their own website. And have you ever noticed how horrible these franchise websites are? They're like the worst websites ever.
Franchises are, we've dealt with some over the years. They come down to two things of whatever the parent company is doing. So depending on who the franchise company is, some will only give you landing pages on their site. Those are usually pretty well done because the site's corporate and they put a lot of time and effort into them and stuff. If they allow companies to get their own site, their problem there is that they don't have any quality control. So smaller franchises have a tendency to go that route and say, do what you want, because you're going to pay for it. So those, it's your dollars. Hey, that's fine. But the problem is quality control. Some companies, a smart franchise, if you want to give them individual sites, you would be allowing the individual site, but going through either a single provider or approving beforehand, what they're allowed to buy. So the franchise sees the design so that they know that it conforms with everything else.
Yeah.
That's generally the issue, because it's the franchises don't stick to the brand standards, and it's the franchise's fault though. The franchisee doesn't stick to it, and the franchisor, the parent company, is not enforcing it.
Yeah, that makes sense. It just seems like even, I don't know, even some dentist, have you ever gone to some like dentist office websites? They're absolutely horrid.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, it's really common, for different companies to have something, that's just not great. It's better to have individual sites. A lot of those pages that are on like a single parent site, the pages are duplicated, and so they'll change up the location and such. But Google, the content will be the same. We provide these services, stuff like that. But Google's starting to penalize those types of pages, even though those are legitimate locations. Because a lot of times people have, when they've wanted to rank organically in other cities that they actually don't have a location, you roll out a landing page for it, but you would repeat the content. And Google has tweaked their algorithm a little bit to spot the duplicates. And so they're not penalizing the site, but they're not indexing the page. Yeah. So you have to be aware of those things. And big franchises with hundreds of those pages or even thousands, and they're not allowing individual sites because they need to be able to change the content.
Yeah. So I'm going to switch gears a little bit. This is the part of the show where we get a little bit more real. And, you're a business owner. What is the thing that you enjoy most of being in business for yourself?
In this particular industry, there's a huge amount of learning, and it goes both ways. So, like, I've been running a podcast too, and I talk to other agency owners, and I'm learning new things from some of them. In this field, you would know that the digital marketing field is ever evolving. I think the most enjoyable businesses, whether you're learning, getting better at management, learning new marketing tactics, or finances, whatever it is, when you run a business, you learn constantly. Nobody has it figured out, right? Yeah, I don't care. Even the billionaires don't have it figured out. Otherwise, Musk would stop tearing apart Twitter, or X, or whatever they want to call it today. You know, so there's a constant learning, and then the flip side is there's a constant teaching as well too. Because like I've been doing this for, I say, since 2011. I started learning the industry in 2007. So you go back that far, that's a lot of years, right? And I'm able to teach others. I'm actually coaching some other agency owners now. So how they can build up their business and stuff. So that really matters too. And you're always teaching your employees. You're always and there's a constant challenge of trying to grow the business. So you keep the mind active. And I think that's one of the most important things is just human beings. We need challenge in our life in one form or another. It's whether it's business or, you think of people that, scale mountains and stuff, there's challenges, no matter what. You don't just, sit around on the couch all day.
Yeah. And speaking of challenges, what would you say in our industry, because we're both in the same industry, what would you say is the biggest challenge of running this type of a business?
Because you have a lot of moving parts. That's the biggest challenge is it's honestly finding good people. Okay. Because, lately there's been so much upheaval in the industry. AI is turning everything on its head. So that's like really shaking up the landscape quite a bit. But it's always, finding good people that you can trust. And that's any business, but this one especially because there's a lot of moving parts and you need people that are sharp. I say we're not, it is, you are working with your brain constantly. It's not a labor job, in the sense of manual, I say like, it's not construction or something like that. So instead, like they're always exercising their muscles. Well, we are too, but it's the brain, constantly. So that's a trick. And that's one of the biggest challenges you face because you need people that really can, think for themselves, really are able to figure out problems. You need problem solvers and people that are willing to tackle them so you're not telling them constantly what to do and solving their problems for them.
Yeah, it's funny. I feel today that there are not it's changed a little bit the way the industry is going, and also in the help that's out there. You had mentioned earlier that I think you said you had over 40 employees.
I've got 30 total right now, about 31 or 32. And we've got, because labor and stuff, half of our staff's in Costa Rica.
What are some difficulties with dealing with employees? Because I feel like sometimes to be a good leader, you also you have to give them that freedom, but you also have to guide them, making sure that they're doing what they say they're doing. So
one of the biggest things is first in any business, this one, any other thing, I don't care what you do, you need a balance of experienced people that bring in differing outlooks. They work for similar type businesses, but they've, done different things. Okay. You need that experience and you need people that can think for themselves, because everybody says you got to be willing to delegate. Yeah, that's great. You need to be able to delegate. I, as a business owner, have to delegate. So I have to find people I can trust to delegate to and know that they will make similar decisions, that I would make myself, that I can trust, that I can, they don't have to bring everything to me and things aren't going to fall apart. We're fortunate that I've got a, company president now that handles a lot of our day-to-day affairs and I'm focused on new initiatives. But if I couldn't trust that person, to do the job right, and really look into our operations and see the day-to-day affairs, then it wouldn't work. So you have to have that. Not every person is going to be that person that you need. Some people are going to be best, that here's the tasks I need you to do, and they will knock them out. Okay. But you have to have people that can think beyond the task and think of the next things. I can look at the position you hold, and I can figure out the things you need to do to move a project along. I say that the biggest thing you got to find is people that can figure out what they need to do without being told. If they can figure out that, and not everybody can do that. Not everybody. Some people are just, hey, what do you want me to do now?
Great. Well, one last question is, and I always ask this on every single one of my shows, is what is one piece of advice that you could give business owners today that would help them move forward and encourage them?
Flexibility. Don't, just because whatever industry you're in has done whatever it's done for generations, okay? They've operated this way. They haven't, one of the biggest pivots we ever made was that we started hiring people directly in Costa Rica. A lot of businesses in our field are willing to outsource. I've outsourced to for certain things when we've been overloaded and stuff. And there's a lot of people, you can go to the Philippines and India and all of this. But you need to be flexible. I went, and having tried a few other things, because every business kind of hits a certain amount of capacity. Hey, I can't hire for the other position. I've still got to get the work done. So you need to think outside the box a little bit. You need to be flexible. Eventually, I said, maybe I can hire, because I needed more staff, than I could potentially get where our offices in the U.S. are. So I started hiring in Costa Rica, even though I ended up with pushback in my own offices, right? Some other people were not initially comfortable with that idea, but I looked for high English level, deep experience in this industry, and it's in the same time zone, and when it was, all said and done, now it's half my company, but we get more done than we've ever gotten done before. And so if I wasn't willing to be flexible, if I had stuck to what everybody else was doing, because some companies in our industry have done these things, but the majority have not. Okay. I tell you, it's like 10% of them have figured it out. And then the other 90%, I say they want to keep hiring locally and stuff. It's even when COVID came along, said everybody, okay, we got to do virtual and all this. Well, we stuck to a hybrid model afterwards. So yeah, we have physical offices, but we don't have people there all the time. So you think about that, we adopted that as a permanent thing. You have to be flexible. You have to be willing to think, beyond your day-to-day to get your stuff done. Now we're launching new services because of these things, because we have access. I say now we're running a podcast, and we're doing podcast production for, some other people and whatnot. Yeah, there's a number of things we're able to do. We're launching a virtual assistant service, because I figured out how to recruit down there. So if I can bring, help to somebody else, sure. So it's flexibility to be able to move a business forward.
That's pretty cool. Well, I want to thank you so much for being a guest on my show. And if somebody resonated with you today or needs some help with their SEO or some other things, how would they get in touch with you?
They can go to titandigital.com. That's our main website. I can personally be reached, just cash@titandigital.com. And of course, you can find me on LinkedIn. It's like /cash.miller or something like that. If you look me up, there's not too many people named Cash. So you will find me.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you again. Until next week, everyone. I'll see you soon. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Biz Gone Social podcast. Find us on Instagram @BizGoneSocial for extra tips. Check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, stay social.